I think at least maybe with heavy music, I don't know if I'm going to get shit for this. It's like tends to be more creative, where like pop music is becoming more homogenized. Like it's literally beat for beat kind of the same shit. Yeah, you get Brat, but you also get like 1,000 Taylor Swift knockoffs, you know. The ebb and flow of like a scene wanting to establish itself, but venue closures sort of are making that almost impossible. A band our size, it's like a death sentence to like release an album of real, not a death sentence, but it's just like, it's so much money, it's so much work for the algorithm to punish you with like one big release where they want a lot of little ones.
All looks pretty good to me. Reece from DVNTS. Welcome to Homebrewed.
Oh, thanks for having us, man. It's been a long time.
Pleasure. Yeah, it's a pleasure. So it has. I feel like it has been, and you're actually continuing a nice little trend of like, well, I suppose it's trend because we're 2 in, so it's not really a trend. But the last local act we had on the pod was Dead Shows. So to have DVNTS follow up, you're fitting in that heavier realm, one that I've been like thinking is absolutely killing it from the Central Coast at the moment. Like some of my favorite bands from the coast are all heavy, and you guys are no exception to that. So I wanted to start with starting at the start with DVNTS, because I came across you guys as part of a Who's Who in the Last Two article that we were doing last year, which was basically an article we used to do where we would kind of wrap up best releases of the last couple of weeks. And in that, I discovered you guys, and I was like, oh, shit, this is wicked. New Central Coast band. It was 2025, and then I found out you guys formed and been around since 2023. And then I felt bad that I had known about you guys sooner. So give us the rundown on the story of DVNTS.
I mean, don't feel bad because we sucked then. You missed the bad years, but no, like, honestly, it starts like way back. Like Sam and I, like Sam the drummer, we've been jamming in his garage since like 2018, I think, and just like never left it for years and years and years. And then his brother, who's the bassist, he put down Fortnite and started actually like playing an instrument. So we got him along.
How hard was that to negotiate?
I think he just got sick of it, so we didn't actually have to say much. So, but yeah, like after that, I don't know, we're just jamming a bit and like trying to formulate like some songs, and we got this like recording studio from Matt's work, because he works in disability, so they were using it as like, you know, having disabled people come in and like play instruments, like record stuff, blah, blah, blah. And we got the keys to it for a night or like for a week or something. So we recorded our EP. Sounds like shit. So we delete, like it's since been like scrubbed from the internet, I think. Maybe you can get it at Bandcamp still. But I think we released that like June 2023 and then started playing shows. The August, I think, was our first one. It was at like just a jam night at the Lincoln Pin, and we were all wearing matching shirts. It looked really lame. And we've since transitioned from just wearing whatever the fuck we want. We don't look like the Wiggles anymore. But yeah, just from there, it's been like the in the local trenches of the scene, I guess.
Yeah, so would you say by the time you guys came to actually forming in 2023, because you had that 2018 history since 2018, was that chemistry and maybe a vision for what you wanted to be and how you wanted to sound, had that been kind of bubbling away and formulating in that kind of 5-year period leading up to formation?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, because, you know, Sam was back and forth between like countries because he just like, he's not in Australia now. Like he constantly fucks off. So it was like waiting for that. But yeah, in that time, it was sort of just like, because I didn't know what the fuck like the band was going to be, because I think we're both, and like all three of us now are like into everything. So it's like, what the fuck does it sound like? What do we want to play? What are we into? So it's just sort of, I don't know. And I think we've just like, from the start till now, like it's all like heavy kind of genres ish, but it's like a mix of everything. But it's definitely just chipping away at like the same few songs for like, I don't know, a few years and then scrapping them and then starting again. It's I don't know. I think it's definitely developed some good connective tissue between us when we like write songs now.
I would agree. I would agree 100%. So I stumbled upon you when you'd released your track Happy, which was the article was August of last year, and you released a track in July, I believe. And the thing that struck me about that song was like, I really liked the sound generally, but the composition and the structure I thought was like very sophisticated. It was like it had a really like strong and sophisticated kind of structure and the flow of the track. And I think your latest single, Almost Never, which we'll speak to in a moment, does something similar. That's the thing that really shines, I think, as a band. I love that heavy sound, but you can be really heavy, follow very maybe typical traditional song structures, or like you guys, you can kind of step it and do it in your own way a bit. Has that been a focus for you all as a band, or something that has just kind of developed naturally?
I think I think something like that, when you write something like that, it kind of, for me at least, I don't really plan it. You sort of just like, you come up with something and see where it goes. And it just, sometimes it develops like that. Sometimes we put too much in it, and it's like we just have to like take out the pieces until like the fucking thing falls over like Jenga or something. But it's all about experimenting, I think, at the end of the day. I mean, like the songs, it was a bit rough to like, I don't know, Almost Never, because like I wasn't really celebrating it coming out, because while it was coming out, we were in the studio for the next things that are going to be released later on. So it was sort of like, I don't know, and they're more new metal-y kind of sounds and like totally different to what we're doing, or what we have released. But it is sort of just like, I don't know, especially in the studio, you just like throw shit against the wall. It's like, what if this sounds really cool or really bad? And then you just sort of like follow that.
Well, the system's working pretty well so far, I'd say. The formation of the band and the first EP that shall not be named now. Tell us a bit about that. Like, what was it about that made you scrub it from the internet? Because I was having a look, and obviously you have a collection of singles that are out. I didn't know about this aforementioned EP.
The EP,
but was it that typical artist thing of being like, I loved it and now I absolutely hate it and don't want anyone to see it, or was it more a change of direction for the band?
No, it was, oh, this is fucking terrible. Like, like we recorded it ourselves and got somebody else to mix it. And it's just like, no shade on him, because we didn't know how to record things. Like it's just wasn't good. I couldn't sing yet, which is a big thing. I think the main thing. And just, I don't think I'd listened to it since it came out. And every time like it would come on my shuffle, I'd just like cringe. And I just thought, if we have new people listening to us and that comes on, it's going to throw them. Like, it made me not want to listen to us,
Yeah, and you want to be proud of the work that you've got out there, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
What did the journey of learning to sing, as you put it, what did that look like for you? Because we know, like, we've spoken to so many artists over the years, singing for some people is really natural and beautiful, but they always say that everyone can learn to sing. But obviously singing for heavier music, even though you have, I suppose, more melody to your voice and more tone to your voice when you do sing. But was that something that you've really had to work on over the last couple of years to perfect and hone?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I've only felt comfortable singing recently. Like, my legs were shaking for the first like 30 shows. Like, I couldn't, like, Matt would tell me to move and it's like, if I move, I'm going to fall. But just with singing, it's like, it's scary, man. Like, it's especially like hearing yourself back. It's like, it's even worse. Even when you sound good, you sound bad. But I think it's just, it's getting comfortable. It's trying to find your own voice, I think, is a big thing. I think when you start out, you're trying to sound like everybody you listen to, and sometimes your throat doesn't do that. So it's just about finding what's comfortable for you and trying to make that work and trying to paint a picture with whatever the fuck noise is coming out of you. And I think it's just recently that I've sort of like found that. And it's like, how do I scream? Because how I was screaming doesn't fucking work and doesn't sound good or feel good. Finally, it's taken a decade, but like I've gotten there, I guess.
Yeah, it's a hilarious idea that like you obviously have the balls and the confidence to go stand on a stage and sing in front of people. But for the first 30 shows, you're like, you're not feeling confident in that, but you're up there in the first place. So it was it not so much a battle getting up in front of people, but more a battle on how you kind of were reflecting on your own singing at the time. Because from my perspective, if I wasn't confident in my singing, I wouldn't get up there in the first place. So it makes, I mean that as a compliment to you, not an insult.
No, totally.
But for you to get up there and without feeling confident in your voice, but still deliver 30 shows before you feel confident in how that's coming out, which I suppose would be a necessary part of the process. But to me, that's ballsy.
Jeez, man. It was a big, honestly, like, I think it took me so long to even like think about starting like singing in front of people and being in a band and stuff, just because like, I don't know about you, but like speeches at school, nah. Like sometimes I get the lip flicker thing, that thing, the cheek thing, and it was just, I think I just got to the stage of like, if who fucking cares? Like I'll just do it, and nobody knows, nobody cares, because I was in a band where I was just the guitarist, and so much more chill. You just play and you're silent, it's fine. But I think. Man, it was sort of a do or die kind of thing. It's like, I'm hearing that people say I'm good. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe they're crazy, but I don't know. It's either going to work or it's not. And then if it doesn't, nobody's going to remember. So fuck it.
I like the attitude a lot, and like so many artists, everyone on the outside is probably going, "This is wicked," and in your head you're going, "This sucks." But the reality is, most people would think it's unreal. Otherwise, you wouldn't have played a subsequent 29 shows after that first one.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like, I think, I mean, even now there's like, I'll get off stage, I'm like, that was a bad one. That wasn't great. But then I'll get like people coming up to me saying like, "Oh, your voice is sick." And it's like, thanks for lying, maybe. I don't know.
It is like that. I mean, I was at a gig on the weekend. One of my best mates, his younger brother, was playing in the band. And I've seen this band play once before, and this was the second time. And I was showing some other friends this band, and we all thought it was unreal. And then I saw my mate, and he was like, yeah, like the sound guy hadn't nailed it quite as well as some of the other shows. I don't think that was their best. But I had like a collection of people with me who were seeing this band for the first time, and myself only seeing it for the second. And I thought it was like an unreal show. So it certainly is like, you're always going to be more discerning, or maybe the band themselves or the people who've seen you 100 times might be more discerning and analysing details. But for most people, I think, shows a lot about energy as well, like the energy the band projects as a whole, even if you don't nail each individual component. And then the people that see you for the first time are probably just going, "This is wicked."
I mean, I hope so. I hope so, because it is such like if the sound's shit and like if the crowd isn't moving, it's such like a demoralizing thing. It's like, well, now I don't want to move. Like, oh, now I'm not having a good time. So it's like, it's hard to like sum up that courage and like, I don't know, still try to give it your all, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be a unique challenge. I've not witnessed it, but I imagine based on you saying that you've experienced it, for heavier music to not get people moving would be a unique challenge. Have you experienced that with live shows?
Yeah, I think was it the last show? I don't know. We were at Six Strings and we were like the opening act, and just like stunned mullets were looking at me, and like I get off stage. I'm like, fuck, should I have called them a bunch of pussies? I'd fucking like, just trying to get them to move, just do something. I think with our kind of genre of like alt rock, where it's like sometimes there's a heavy song and sometimes it's like happy, where it's like not really a moshing song. where people don't really know when to move, maybe, I think. Whereas, like, if it's just a straight metal show, it's like, well, fucking just mosh the whole time, it'll be fine. But I think with us, it's like soft, heavy, soft, heavy. So, like, we're moving towards the direction of, like, predominantly, like, just heavy sounds. So I think, like, maybe we won't have that problem in the future, but I don't know. We'll still probably get it.
Yeah, I suppose that in itself, again, is a kind of unique challenge. I remember when we spoke to Jan a few years back, and they were producing music at the time that was like almost, you could compare it to like The Cure in terms of sound, but then on the other side of that, like real heavy scream at the mic music. And they were like in this, do we go more melodic? Do we go heavy screamier? And I think Jake wanted to go screamier and Neil wanted to go more melodic, but I think inevitably they've ended up going into the heavier sound. And I suppose the crowd side of that is interesting as well, because you might get people there for very different reasons. Someone who's ready to start throwing kicks and elbows around and jump in and mosh, and other people who want to stand on the peripheries and just kind of nod their head.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's I don't know, you're always in that crossroad of, like, if you've got lighter songs and heavier songs, it's like the heavier songs just feel better to play, and obviously, like, it gets a better response as well. It's like, but I like the lighter stuff, but also meh, like, it's I don't know. The lighter stuff does, like, summon all the wallflowers, you know what I mean? Like, tiptoeing heavier and heavier to try to, like, draw a better reaction, I guess. And it just, like, fucking just feels good to play it.
Hi, it's us. Sorry to interrupt us, but we're here with an important message from our sponsor, Sonora Studios.
Yes, go to Sonora Studios, and we will expand upon that message. Jack was really brief in what he sent us.
It was just all caps, go to Sonora.
Well, take that advice if you want, but if you are a musician or a music producer and you're looking for a space to record your work or record the work of others or work out of, we would like to highly recommend Sonora Studios in Tuggerah for you to do that. It's a fantastic space curated by Jack Negro, very welcoming, unreal place to record out of, at least for podcasts, but we know based on all the musicians we spoke to that it's fantastic for music as well. It's got everything, a very well designed, well thought out place with some of literally the best producers in the country and some of the best bands in the country frequenting it. So do check out Sonora Studios if that is what you're looking for. Your latest single, Almost Never, is probably a good example of the direction you're stepping in. Although with that new metal reference before, maybe there's more to be written. But tell us a little bit about this track. It dropped, we're recording this on the last day of June. It dropped 11th of June, and it's your first release of 2026. Tell us about that release. I was a very big fan.
Oh, cheers. So we recorded it with Brad Telfer. He's done, like, Relica and Jai Sharp, I believe. And then we got it produced by, I was talking to one of the dudes from Stone Lions, just asking, like, who do you get your shit mixed and mastered by? So he just gave me, like, some names. I'm like, oh, I'll just pick them. Not knowing that the dude who mixed it worked with, like, Under Oath and Paramore. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's doing it for a reasonable price. All right, sure. So I don't know, that was just, like, a good get. But I think the song itself, man, I forgot about this song when we, like, first wrote it, and it was just sort of like, it was a video recording on my old phone that I found, like, 2 years later. I'm like, fuck, I forgot all about this song, and then, like, redid it so it actually, like, sounded better. But I guess, like, lyrically, it just deals with, you know, the whole, is this going to happen? Will it not? Like, are we going to succeed? Because, like, life has just been, like, something almost happens. Like, it's only ever, like, almost, or it never does kind of situation. It's just trying to, like, rise above the, I guess, like, the path you've been set on.
Yeah, is that from the perspective of you personally, or you as individuals personally, or is that collectively as a band that that kind of perspective is written from.
Yeah, no, it's like it's just from my point of view, I guess, because like growing up not financially good in that way, and just like, am I just gonna be this, or is there like something more? And it's just like, you really sometimes, at least in the music scene, you feel like you're really trying to like grasp at straws. So it's just, yeah, I guess it sort of centers around that.
I'm interested, like, kind of on that note and of that note, we did a music news not long ago about this like really unbelievable spike and surge in like kind of heavy music listenership that's happened since COVID. The numbers are like really significant in terms of how much bigger this popularity of and this included like from alt rock to like death metal, you know what I mean, and everything in between. But there's been like a really significant increase across punk genres, heavy genres, etc. A lot of people the suggestion or the assertion was made that this was to do with the world being progressively more fucked and heavy music having that element of catharsis to it, that release that you kind of can't get elsewhere. Is that something that resonates with you? Because like obviously in the writing process, and this isn't just limited to heavy music, but in the writing process with the song you just described, Almost Never, you're speaking to those kind of same things about, the world isn't particularly inspiring for people kind of under 50 at the moment in terms of their prospects. It doesn't feel like, you're going to be better off than your parents were, and you're reflecting that in that track. Do you think that there's a correlation between maybe a pickup in heavy music listenership or maybe your own interest in it and those kind of feelings?
Wow. That's a good question.
Big question.
Yeah, a fucking hefty one. I think at least with like the lyrical topics, you could like make a pop song about that, to be fair. But in terms of like this, was that all genres, or just like, was that the average of like heavier music?
So heavier music, so like, yeah, from alt punk to grindcore and
Right.
everywhere in between, there's been an uptick. But there was a suggestion that this was why. And I think at the time when we spoke about it, my perspective on it was yes, but also this could just be a moment it was always going to have. I don't know if I feel like it almost sells the sound short to say that people only like it when the world's shit, if you know what I mean. Because I feel like, the sound is good enough to stand on its own 2 feet anyway. But I kind of concluded that, well, it's probably not nothing. There probably isn't no correlation between the two. I just don't think it explains, personally, I don't think it explains all of it.
No, I don't think it explains all of it. I think, like anything, like the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think even when like fucking Trump got elected the first time, I'm like, there's going to be so many Rage Against the Machine bands. And kind of, but I think heavy music, it just goes through phases, like I don't know if they still hold the record, but Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory was the best-selling independent release ever. I don't know if that's still the case, but like, I don't see anybody doing those numbers now. I guess, like, is it better on like percentage-wise? Like, is it just because there's a bigger population in general, or is it like comparatively to like pop music and stuff?
Yeah, it's beating every other genre. It was something like, really? I think they narrowed it down into in particular genres. I can try and pull these notes up. But it was like 180% increase, for example, for I think punk was one. And comparatively, like other genres like pop and hip hop had significant increases too. But there was still daylight between the two.
Yeah, I think like it could be, I don't know. I think the sign of the times kind of like perspective is a bit, I think it's more like, Turnstile is fucking maybe the biggest band right now. Bring Me the Horizon is fucking massive as well. Speed, like all these heavier bands. It could just be that like they kind of found a really cool sound that resonates with like a lot of people, and that sort of trickles down through everything, and it's sort of like, what is it, rising tide lifts all ships in that way, I guess. Like, I think at least maybe with heavy music, it's tends to explore. I don't know if I'm going to get shit for this. It's like tends to be more creative, where like pop music is becoming more homogenized. Like it's literally beat for beat, kind of the same shit. Yeah, you get Brat, but you also get like 1,000 Taylor Swift knockoffs. Whereas like like the bands I listed, they're doing something like different and unique and cool, and I think people hear that in the scene, or just like fucking Turnstile has like synth breaks. Like someone in like who's into pop might hear that and then like transition, and like it I don't know, it maybe there's just like so many more bridges to metal than there is to other genres.
That's an interesting perspective, because there is so much more of that happening in heavier music, where they're incorporating elements that you wouldn't think could be there or have traditionally been there.
Yeah.
How do you guys as Deviants, as a band, feel moving through the scene with knowing that context? Like, are you seeing, particularly on the Central Coast, for example, are you seeing that there's more of a scene or more of an appetite for what you're putting out as you've kind of moved through it and progressed as a band?
I think definitely there's more and more people that like they are there for like heavier music. Definitely. And I think because when I was like back in my day, like I would go to Wyong Oasis Youth Center like every weekend to see, like, I don't know who the fuck was playing. Like, you just go see whoever's playing, like the hardcore band or the metalcore band. And I felt like that was lost for a bit. Like, people don't just go to a weird venue and see who's playing. Like, it's always, I don't know, you got to like advertise on social media and stuff. But I've recently seen, at least at Wombi Surf Club, like, just that seems to be like another hotspot of like people just show up. They have no fucking idea who's playing. And like, that is so fucking cool. But I saw that before at, I forget what venue, it was called The Cabin. I think it was somewhere in Maitland, maybe. But they were sort of developing that, and then they shut down. So that's gone. So I think it's sort of just the ebb and flow of like a scene wanting to establish itself, but venue closures sort of are making that almost impossible. But I think, massive tangent, I'm so sorry, I can't speak.
No, it's fine. This is the spirit of our podcast. Don't worry at all.
Oh, thank God. I just talk shit, and then maybe something sophisticated comes out of it. But going back to that, yeah, there's probably, I don't know, a shift towards heavier stuff, because like sometimes we'll play and we're like the softest band on the bill, and it's like, oh fuck, I wish we were like writing heavier stuff, because like the people just clearly want that kind of stuff out of here. If we just had like 4 more of this one song that hasn't released yet. But it seems to be, yeah, like it sort of seems to be the case. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting, especially to have those reflections from kind of someone within the scene. And don't stress about tangents, because I started this by asking you about your new single, and then I've taken us here. So no problems at all. If we can return to that new single, Almost Never.
Right.
As I said, it's your first release of 2026, and has had quite a good response. I would say you've got thousands of plays on that track already on Spotify, just by my look, on your listening numbers. And you mentioned kind of at the end of last year, you had played some of the biggest shows you've ever played with some of the biggest bands you've ever played alongside. You got a spin from our friend on Triple J, Angus Hamill, the absolute legend. Go Ango, shout outs. But with all that in mind, you've got a bit of momentum, I would say. Are you building to, say, a body of work or something off the back of this release, Almost Never?
You mean like an album or EP or something like that?
Yeah, and anything of that nature.
Listen, I think like this day and age, a band our size, it's like a death sentence to like release an album of real, not a death sentence, but it's just like, it's so much money, it's so much work for the algorithm to punish you with like one big release where they want a lot of little ones, which fucking sucks. Because like it would be cool. Because like I came up with just like fucking holding an album and just like spinning it on repeat and stuff. It would be cool to like have a physical album out. But it's sort of just, I don't know. Unfortunately, you have to play to the times, and the times are just like Spotify will not like that. Because yeah, we have had like a lot of success with like the release, and that's just like the trying to pitch to playlisters and like just giving Spotify's algorithm enough time to like promote through their things. Like most of the listens are through like the radio, like song radio, if you know. Yeah. And we've had like a lot of success through that because I'm just constantly like watching things to like improve your statistics and everything to make the number go up. It's so much work just to get it like to tick up a little bit. But in terms of like an album, that's the goal, but like I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon. It's just going to be like, you know, we've got 2 singles that we're mixing now that will hopefully come out this year. One should be out in September, so we'll at least have 3 out this year by the end of it. But yeah, in terms of album, it's just so much for like so little return nowadays.
Yeah, it's a really interesting perspective. We've like watched this and you know, like been speaking to musicians about this stuff for a fair few years now, and we remember when it started happening, some artists were going, we'll do single, like basically release 11 or 10 to a dozen singles, and then following the 12th release, say this was an album, so that they could kind of capitalize on the algorithm for each of those releases. And now artists like yourself are making that decision, which is understandable as well, because it costs so much to actually produce an album in the first place. That if I'm not putting words in your mouth, is it effectively a case of we could make 10 songs, put them on an album, release the album, 2 to 3 might get spun by the algorithm, and the remaining 7 or 8 will kind of never really be seen or given the attention they deserve. And then you've sunk 10 to 20 grand into an album and a release and everything like that, and you're not really getting your return.
That's 100%. Like when you're, at least through Spotify, if you're releasing like a single, you can pitch that song to like Spotify playlists, and like the algorithm will probably give it more attention. Whereas if it's a collection of songs, you can still from that collection only pitch one song to the editorial playlist, even though they don't. I don't think they're listening to us anyway. But anyway, to the algorithm, it's just not gonna do much nowadays. Like unless you already have an audience, like a decent sized one, then like a lot of songs are just gonna fall through the cracks. But I think, as like bad as that is, it's sort of put bands in a state where like if you're releasing a single, the single needs to stand up by itself. Like it has to be, you can't release a filler track and hope that like it's gonna do well. It needs to stand by itself, which is, I guess, a silver lining. It's still shitty, but it's like at least you have to be putting out the best thing you can out, because you don't know. One, it's super fucking costly to like just get a decent quality recording and mix and master. And then the second point I've already forgotten, but you get what I mean.
I do. It's fascinating. Like, yeah, it's this almost reflection that maybe the album is the realm of the established band only now. Well, it's not like you can't do it, but in terms of, what might be the wisest decision, and we're going to see less and less albums. Like, I'm really fascinated in the whole concept of how streaming is changing the way we listen. In some ways good, maybe a lot of ways I think are quite bad. But how does that feel for you and maybe for the band collectively? Because I imagine you've all come up on albums and loving bodies of work, and to know that maybe as much as you'd love to do it, it's not the right thing to do, at least at this stage. Is that something that you kind of grapple with, or you just go, pin your ears back, we'll get these singles out and then we'll have an audience that you're building right now, which we can see, and then you'll do your album?
Like, I think you just have to like trudge on, like do the single stuff. It does, like, it's kind of lame because, yeah, I grew up in a time where you'd buy an album and just like listen to it on repeat, and even the filler songs, you'd find something you like because you paid $20, so you got to like everything. And you fall in love with the album through that, for all its flaws. But yeah, now it's like fucking. I've got a bunch of weird songs that I want to do, but nobody's gonna fucking listen to that as a single. So like, I think like maybe the songs don't need to get better. They're just like more, I don't know, homogenized for like a broader audience. Like you're not going to have like, we still can have like a weird fucking song out there, but it might not do as well. And then you've wasted a bunch of money on that one. And it's lame. It's lame. But like, yeah, the goal is to be the Linkin Park or the Slipknot where you can like just drop an album every 2 years. But even then, just with the way that social media works, like people forget about shit like constantly. Like bands, if they don't release, will get forgotten about now. Whereas like, the legacy bands can sort of get away with just releasing something every like 1 or 2 years. But I don't think the new bands coming up really have that, I don't know, luxury anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, it's part of my issue with the streaming listening model, and I found myself a couple of years ago falling into this trap where, say you're on Spotify, if you rely too much on radio or you discover weekly, then you're literally getting like maybe a dopamine hit, 4 or 5 dopamine hits of a new song a week. But then the next playlist rolls around and you just want to find the new song, and then you don't probe the artists of those songs that you loved. And so as a result, you get like this disparate collection of singles that are all from artists that you don't really know or understand. And like part of why I love music is getting to understand the artists and kind of like what's gone into it. But you go, oh, that song's mad. Somebody go, who's that? Who is that? And they're like, I actually don't know. I just have it saved. And then all of a sudden you kind of move on. And so I made this really conscious effort to like listen to albums, listen to bodies of work. And it like worked really well for me and like spun my habits back around. But I think if you look around, that's kind of what's happening. And then it's compounded by the fact that so much music listening is as a result of virality and trends as well, and then they move on as quickly as they came, and the songs often go with them as well. So there's this like compounding effect, but the result of both of those things is that it's like really hard to get attention as a band. If you do, it might be short-lived, and you can only do it in single form. But often because of the virality thing, it's reserved for, certain markets and certain bands in the first place. But in saying all that, you've demonstrated with DVNTS as well that there is a way to get attention as well, and successfully so. And that's reflected in your streaming numbers. You mentioned it before, pitching to these playlists and things like that. And we know we have a lot of artists that listen. So could you kind of run through, and like, I don't really understand that, as a non-musician myself, but what is the process to you've created this single, you're about to release it, or you have released it. You say you're watching things and getting tips and advice on how you then get that into these rotations. What is the process there?
Usually upload the song to your distributor. We use DistroKid, which is like a really common one. You try to do that a month before the release, like as soon as you can, pretty much, to upload there, so that it gives it to Spotify, and then through Spotify you can like pitch to their editorial playlist, where they say that like, so give us 4 weeks so that someone can listen to your song. It's probably an algorithm. Like I don't think anybody works there. So you can do that, and then we use Submit Hub to try to get on like playlists. You sort of like pitch your song to them, and they can accept or decline, mostly decline. And then also there's like, the content that you got to go through, meta ads, and like put that shit together, and the messaging, like people like yourselves, and just like try to like hit all those people who are like willing to promote you, because if like this release didn't do as well as Happy, but it did better than the last two, so like the graph, up and down, but to the Spotify algorithm, which is like still a fucking mystery to me, you're just trying to, I don't know, I sort of get a snowball effect going, whereas like it can try to show it to all the other people who've already listened to one of your songs at some point in time. So that's why this song did so well because Happy did. So it's sort of just like the drips from that, and again, it's just like the temperamental nature of the algorithm and trying to fucking. It's like you got to sacrifice a goat just to appease it, you know. There's like, yeah, there's a bunch of that shit, and then just I don't know. I didn't do much content for this one, admittedly, because I was like busy concentrating on the other songs we were like writing and like recording. But yeah, there's always a bunch of that shit, and you couldn't catch me dead dancing in front of a camera to it, so that's not going to be one of the fucking options. And yeah, that's pretty much the beats. It's just and uploading it to all the other things that don't come with the distributor, and it's just literally it's just like an office job is like 90% of being in a band now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and like, yeah, you've got the social media thrown in there as well, which is, we know from the amount that we do, which is comparatively small to some bands, but it is that in itself is a massive job just to manage your socials and also the expectation of continued posting, which benefits the algorithm. The algorithms that nobody understands, but they exist and they seem to govern our lives. But it's really fascinating. And good insight, hopefully, for those listening on how to do it, because you guys seem to be doing a good job of it. You mentioned the music that you have been recording. You made reference before to new metal sounds. Tell us a little bit about what is coming up with those couple of singles that you might have for us before the end of the year.
I'm like, it's so hard to talk about almost never because like I'm like anybody else. It's like the new shiny things are like more like fucking getting my attention. My bird brain is tingling. It's just like they're more like skewed towards like fucking Limp Bizkit kind of shit. And it's just we've gone to Mitta from Tommy Rock, who's like Newcastle legend. They sound fucking sick. I think like they're the best ones, best songs, like quality, like structure, fucking catchiness that we've ever done. They should be coming out this year, I hope. Like depending on the timeline, like I gotta shoot a music video for one of them as well. And then just do the fucking thing I talked about of like the content wheel and all that.
All the office job stuff.
All the fucking office job. It's like I get like a couple days of like fun recording, and then it's like, okay, now like social media strategy and stuff that honestly I don't do very well. Like in terms of like posting content, I just like I couldn't be fucked, man. Like it's so demoralizing to like. I was thinking about this the other day of like if Meta went down, like Instagram and Facebook, so many bands would just like go dark because it's like where the fuck are you hearing anything anymore? You know, like you just wouldn't hear about them, which is sad as well. Like
it's another fascinating perspective as well. Like on that, you know, we've become so reliant on like a massive company basically to sustain like bands, brands, whatever it is. And if that, you know, we all, the success of all those hinges on the success of the gigantic multinational, it's probably not the best way we've set ourselves up.
No, we've totally fucked ourselves. And I had this realization while I was like paying Meta to like do ads for our fucking single. I'm like, motherfucker, like I'm just like paying this non-music company, and if it ever goes down, it will like cripple the industry for like until we get like better systems up. It just sucks, man. It's like maybe that is why there's heavy music, just like fucking Rage Against Meta, like
Rage Against Meta, trademark it.
Good band name.
It is a great band name. On that note, right? If we're talking about the online space, the online communities, talk about the community that comes to your live shows. Is that something that, you know, you're seeing familiar faces? You've got live shows happening in and around your area. Is there a community, you know, an IRL community on the Central Coast of people that you're getting familiar with?
There's a few like of our regulars that come, but like we knew them already. So it's sometimes like I think like the biggest supporters are like other bands that like will come out, which is like a good thing. I don't know if I'm just like terrible at faces, but like I noticed like a few ones that are like, oh, I saw you at the other, but no, I think it's just like new people because we play different places, like sometimes like Newey, Central Coast, Sydney. It's kind of like a change, and then we've sort of like dialed back like the amount of shows that we take now, just because at the start you just take anything you can get, and I got to the stage where it's like maybe I don't want to play a band comp on a Tuesday night that we won't win. Like, you know what I mean? So we keep it light now because energy is also like a finance as well, you know. But yeah, we've got a couple coming up, so.
Yeah, I think that's like the marker of a stage of success that you've reached as a band too, because so many over the years have said similar things. You take everything you can when you're starting, and then once you realize you might not need to do that, then you peel it back. And taking everything isn't always the best answer for a band. But the ones that you do have coming up, tell us a little bit about those. Can you foreshadow, promote them for anyone who's listening and might want to go out and catch Deviants?
Yeah, it will be 15th of August at Elton Chong's with Ultra Volt and Wicked Envy.
Where is Elton Chong's?
I think it's in Penrith. I haven't actually looked it up.
Cool.
I think it's Penrith.
It's a good venue name.
And then I don't know where you'll be on the day the towers fell, but I'll be at Crowbar on September 11th. I was really considering using that joke, but I didn't. Anyway, fuck it. With Aerials and Insignificant Others, they're a System and a Limp Bizkit cover band. Cover bands are so big now. Like, honestly, they draw such a big crowd, and also Crave is playing that show.
Okay, so mark those in your calendars. We'll have Deviants. Well, yeah, the September one you'll be able to remember easy. We'll have the Deviants, the links to Deviants socials in the show notes for here. But for anyone listening, it's DVNTS, which you can find all caps on your various social medias to find it. Same with streaming platforms as well. A lot to look forward to, Reece. It's been really, really cool to catch up and get to know you and the band a bit better. We will be looking out intently for these single releases. We have like a good habit of, at least if like, we'll have you on in the future, no doubt. And if you haven't fulfilled your promise of releasing this song, we're going to remind you of it and probably play you a clip of you saying it. So let that be your motivation to get these singles out this year.
Sometime in September, maybe, I hope. I don't know.
But if not, get down to shows, support them, listen to the new single Almost Never, and catch up on the collection of singles that are already out in the world, because it's a fantastic Central Coast band that deserves your support. Reece, thank you so much for coming in and having a chat on Homebrewed.
Thank you so much for having me. Fuck, I do tangent a lot. I've never noticed that until this.